Joined now by Frankie DiCarlantonio, running for Steubenville mayor. Thank you so much for joining us.
Really Thank you for having me, Rich.
Well, you're just a few days out now from Election Day. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling great. I'm excited. It's crunch time. We're 6 days away, so it's an exciting time for all, I'm sure.
Confident?
I believe I am. I think that we're looking great. We're working hard to talk to the voters of the city of Steubenville as to what they want to see in their city. You know, this is a very important election. This is the first time in 25 years that the day after Election Day, the city of Steubenville will have a new mayor. So this is an important decision for many as to what they want to see in the future of the city of Steubenville.
So you've talked about three things, mostly: business, people, community. That's your mantra, that's your platform really going forward here. Talk about that a little bit.
So in that order exactly, business, people, and community. You know, my expertise and my knowledge is in the business community here in the city of Steubenville, and we need to get more resources. We always hear as residents and through our city council and other folks here that we don't have enough resources to go around. The only way that we're going to get resources and to invest back into our community is through increased business and increased jobs. We need to put people back to work, and we need more opportunities by business locating right here. So we need to make it easier for them to locate here. We need to make the rules fair to them and to make sure that they're not prohibitive to business locating here. We need to make sure that our fees are fair, and we need to make sure that the process is as easy as we can make it for businesses that want to locate here. We need to put people back to work. We've been in an area for far too long that we've been losing jobs, whether it be retail, manufacturing, industrial jobs. For far too long, at the end of the day, we have less than what we started with. And that's unacceptable. The only way that we're going to move forward as a city and as an area is if we have more jobs at the end of the day than we started with. And we need to invest back into our community. People are paying their 2% income tax here in the city of Steubenville, and the reason that we exist as a government is to provide for our citizens, such as infrastructure with roads and water infrastructure. We need to make sure that we have good parks and programming. I don't mean just having good facilities, which is very important, but also have continual programming for our young children, and to make sure that we are investing in our safety forces, because they're the whole reason that we are kept safe here as a city. We need to invest to take care of the drug and the violence problem. We need to invest to make sure that, I call them sort of our insurance. We all hopefully don't want to use the fire department in our lifetime, but that we make sure that they're here and ready to serve us. So in that order, as you said, that's sort of my mantra. My entire platform is business, people, and community, right in that order.
What specific steps would you take to get businesses to locate here in Steubenville?
Well, right away, we need to review our fees and what we're charging people to invest in the city of Steubenville, whether it be our plan review fees, our permits, and other items that they have to pay in order to begin their development or begin their investment here. We need to make sure that the process is as friendly as we can make it, to make sure that maybe we do designate somebody within the city of Steubenville as our small business or as our business liaison, to make sure, because we could be interacting as a business owner, you could be interacting with 5 or 6 different departments to start and operate your business here in the city of Steubenville. We need to make sure that we have someone that can help our small business, and any size business for that matter, to help them through that process. And lastly, we need to make sure that the rules and the ordinances that we have on our books are as fair as we can make them. I understand we have building codes and ordinances to keep our people safe, but at the same point, we need to make sure that whenever it becomes a nuisance to our small business, that we're keeping our people safe and we're making it easy for small business to come here. Let's
talk about a major sticking point for a lot of people, and unfortunately, the first thing a lot of people think of when they hear Steubenville, and that's crime. Crime and drugs, of course, that bring that crime. What would you do as mayor to help curb crime in the area and also drugs?
Well, I think that we need to invest. The biggest thing is we can't throw inadequate resources to a problem and expect a resolution to come right away. We need to invest into our safety forces. We need to ramp up our enforcement to make sure that people know that Steubenville is not an area that we're going to deal with this drug problem. We need to target every level, whether it be the buyers, the sellers, the traffickers in this area. We need to make sure that we're targeting every level. Now, we're not going to arrest this problem away, and we're not going to turn this problem away just by arresting and incarcerating people. We need treatment options for these folks as well, people that want to get help off of this problem, off of their addiction. We need to offer them treatment in order to move forward in their life. But we need to ramp up enforcement, and we need to make sure that we have options for these people once they have determined that they do want to move forward in their life past their addiction problem.
Let's talk about treatment for a second. A lot of people want treatment centers, but nobody seems to want treatment centers in their neighborhood, in their backyard. How do you make this sort of something that people can stomach a little bit better, having that treatment center located near them and in the city of Steubenville to help locals who need it?
Well, I think that we need to be strategic as to where the placement is. I think that we need to make sure that they're set up in a way as to where their operations don't impede those around them. I know it is hard sometimes. The items that happen within these treatment centers or surrounding them, does affect the area around them. And I do understand that, but I believe that we are in no chance of being landlocked here in Steubenville. We have plenty of space for development. We have plenty of medical facilities that are set up for medical facilities that have space open and ready. So I think that we need to utilize that and to partner with our already existing medical infrastructure here in the tri-state area, not just Steubenville, because I do believe in regionalization as well, but the area around us to make sure that we utilize what we have already.
Let's talk a little bit about downtown Steubenville now specifically. A lot of dilapidation, a lot of blight in that area, buildings that have seen great days, but those days are long gone. They look like they're ready to fall down. Many have sat empty. People who own those buildings no longer in the area. What steps would you take to help solve that problem of blight and dilapidation in downtown? Well,
I think a large part of it is it's sort of a chicken or egg situation. We need to set up a system as to where if people are interested in moving forward with beginning a business or beginning an investment in the downtown area, I believe that we need to have a real estate system set up. We have all these empty buildings, yet there's no system set up as to who is willing to sell them, who is willing to rent them. It's almost as if you're interested in locating in one of these buildings, because many of them can be habitated, a lot of them cannot be habitated at the same time, but a lot of them could facilitate a business in them, but it's almost you have to go hunt for whoever owns them or whoever is going to be leasing them. We need to have a better real estate system set up for these people to know who to contact as to who to move into these locations. And at the same time, I'm a firm believer in public-private partnerships, as many other cities in the state of Ohio and nationally have done to rehab a lot of these buildings, because a lot of them are missing basic items that a business needs. I mean, I was in a building most recently. It has no finished flooring. It has no heat. It has no central air. It has different missing items that are essential for the building to operate as a successful business. But we need to partner with these folks to potentially see investment into them. Then I believe that you'll see some interest in moving into these places once they are move-in ready. Because as a business owner, we don't want to focus on investing money into someone else's building or someone else's investment, basically. We need move-in ready locations for our businesses to move right into and focus on starting their business instead of bringing this building up to the point where they are able to do that.
Let's talk community now, recreation specifically. There just aren't a whole lot of things for kids to do. You hear that complaint a lot in the downtown area, in the Hilltop area, in many spots. Either kids just aren't using what's already there, what's there is out of date, or there's not much to do. So what would you do to go about getting kids back to having those safe and good recreation time so they're not getting into bad things?
Right. I mean, we need continual programming for our children. I think a lot of people, whenever we hear about investing into our park system, I believe just making sure that we have, we have a location for them to go to, that we have a good ball field, that we have a good, playground for them to go to. That is very important. Don't get me wrong. I'm a firm believer in infrastructure, and we need to invest in that. But at the same time, we need to make sure that we have continual programming for our kids, after-school programs, weekend programs. We need to keep these kids and these young adults occupied with things that they could be doing to keep them off of the bad things that they're doing. They're getting involved into drugs and different items that are happening that will keep them occupied if we don't. So we need to make sure that we have after-school programs, weekend programs, and continual programming. And one of the best ways that we're going to do that is to invest into that department and to invest into these programs. I said before that we can't throw inadequate resources towards a problem or towards a program and expect for it to succeed. Whoever takes office in the city of Steubenville, we're not going to succeed unless we get more resources. And we need to put adequate funds towards the recreation department to make sure that we do have staffing, to make sure that we can continue and start the programming that we need to make sure that the Martin Luther King Center and our other facilities are kept up to date and kept at a condition that we can utilize them at any point. And also, I believe that we need to switch our thinking as to what kids want nowadays. I think sometimes we equate, baseball fields, basketball courts, and different things, which are very much used by our young people. But we also need to consider technology and how we can keep kids occupied in a safe environment through technology and modern means, which is what they're wanting to do nowadays.
Now to medicinal marijuana. It's possibility of a dispensary coming to Steubenville. Would you support that, and how would you pitch the idea to whatever company is going to put that here, that Steubenville is the right spot for it?
Well, I believe that here in the city of Steubenville, we need to welcome any business. Basically, with the medical marijuana issue, it is legal in the state of Ohio. It passed through the state legislature, and it is legal, and it is coming to our area whether we like it or not, to be honest. It's coming to Jefferson County. They want to locate in Jefferson County. They are allotted a dispensary in this area, and trust me, the industry is going to take advantage of that allotment here. So basically right now we're faced with a decision as to whether or not we're going to welcome it here in the city of Steubenville. And here's the thing, it's going to locate in Jefferson County. So as a city of Steubenville leader and as someone that looks at the numbers and the sense of it, if we can get those jobs right here in the city of Steubenville, I would like that to happen. Whenever we have an option of it locating in Steubenville or another locality that is 5 minutes away, as most is in the area, I believe that we need to embrace that here in the city of Steubenville. For every full-time minimum wage job, and of course this number goes up as the more that someone gets paid, we get $339 as a city for our operations through our 2% income tax. So I believe that we need to welcome this industry. I believe, as any other business, that we need to bring them in and to make sure that they have a liaison to help them through the process of locating here and treat them like any other business. I understand that this is a hot button issue for some folks, and a lot of people have very strong beliefs as to what they believe as to whether or not it helps or it doesn't help, or whether or not that they believe it's a good thing to introduce to our area. And I understand that, and I value that input. And whether or not what my stance is on it or whether a citizen's stance is on it, it's coming here to our area because the state of Ohio has already approved it.
I'm going to state the obvious here. Frankie, you're young.
Absolutely.
And there might be some voters out there who think you're too young. How do you pitch yourself to them?
Well, I've been in the business industry and people know me from the community. I'm 22 years old. I'm not afraid to admit that, and I'm proud of that fact. I have more accomplishments than most 22-year-olds have. I've been involved in the community. My first board appointment whenever I was 15 years old. I've been involved in multiple facets of our community, whether it be in the business community, the nonprofit and the civic parts of our community. I represent the people of Steubenville to the Regional Planning Commission. I'm already put in leadership positions each and every day as to where I represent people, whether it be on a board, on a commission, on a committee. So I do have that experience. I have always been somebody that I can describe as beyond their years, not to toot my own horn or anything, but I believe that it's time for the future to take a hold of Steubenville. I believe that by the time that we are at the average age of what you would consider a representative of any town, of anywhere, it's too late to dictate your own future. I'm here because people my age don't have opportunity here in the city of Steubenville. People my age, people that I graduated with and went to school with, they're having to leave the area, and they don't want to. This is where their family is. This is where their culture is. They want to stay here in Steubenville, yet they can't. So we need to make sure that we do not slight me because of my age, for the fact that we need to turn it over to the future. And every discussion that I have, every decision I make, and every idea that I come up with is not only to remedy a problem today, but it's also looking towards the future. We need to stop being so reactive and being proactive in the issues that we are faced with here in the city of Steubenville.
Well, November 7th, we'll find out if the future is now. Good luck, Frankie.
Thank you, Rich.